right. So the big news was in the last game, Sidney Crosby got his 500th goal. And you were there?
I was.
You were also there for Ben's last game.
I was. I have been a hermit since COVID, but there are certain things that this sports fan has standards, and I could not be there. So I actually gave my tickets away for the Sid game to a friend whose birthday it was. And as soon as he didn't score on Sunday, I was like, that's it, I'm buying tickets. So I did. I'm so glad I was there.
I heard, well, I could hear on TV that the atmosphere was electric. It was amazing.
It really was. And I know you were there when Mario came back in 2000, but there's been milestone games I've been to, but that one on Tuesday night was amazing. It was a lot like the Mario coming back game, or some of the playoff games that we won. It felt so good. Everybody was so happy.
Yeah. I've heard comparisons of the Sidney thing and the Ben thing of I mean, I guess there's similarities, both times. I mean, I'm sure the crowd when in Ben's last game was magical too. That it definitely sounded like that on TV.
It was that camaraderie feeling. Lots of times you get excited and crowds will get excited, but this was that, oh, we're all here for this player. We're all here to be happy for this guy kind of feeling. And sometimes you get it and sometimes you don't. But, you felt it with Ben's last game. The players were feeling it too. And you felt it with Sid's goal the other night. Chris Letang was so flipping excited. Like Mike Sullivan clapping on the bench. Those things don't happen all the time. So that feeling that everybody was in this together for Sid, it felt so good.
When Sid scored, the entire team comes out. I don't know if I've ever seen that for a regular season thing.
Yeah, I was looking at the refs thinking, oh, are they going to
are they going to call a penalty?
Right. And Casey DeSmith left the net. And, there's only certain things you're supposed to be allowed to leave the net for. So I was, but, they let it go. And then when the whistle went longer, the horn went longer, and the applause fired up again, and they waited, like the refs pulled back and waited to drop the puck. Total respect. Everybody was on the same page.
And it was when Sid got back to the bench, the crowd was still chanting his name. It was just special. They showed his parents were in the crowd. Dad's crying. I guess his parents have just been following him from city to city the past couple weeks to see.
Yeah. I don't blame them. Like, that's awesome. And his sister too. Like, I didn't realize his sister was there too, but I think she was in front of them. I thought I saw after the fact, but yeah, good for them. Good for them for following him and being excited. But
very cool.
He looked like a little kid. He was so happy.
It's just amazing that.
And against the Flyers. I'm sorry.
Yeah, against the Flyers.
Yeah.
Of all the teams, the team he scored the most goals against.
Exactly. And wasn't it his 50th goal against the Flyers?
Yes.
So a full, 1/10 of his goals have been against the Flyers. Like, absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect.
I also love that. I don't know if it was the Instagram or whatever, but I think the Penguins accounts, congratulations, said 500 goals. And Malkin puts a comment. Also, congratulations, Malkin. He congratulated himself on his assist.
He's a piece of work, that guy. I'll tell you. But how perfect was it that he had the assist? All we needed was Chris Letang having an assist.
All we needed was Letang to get the secondary assist.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It is absolutely amazing that we have been able to see Sid, Malkin, and Letang together for, my goodness,
years. What, 15 years, 16 years?
At least, yeah.
17?
Yeah. It's amazing.
I it's so rare to get what we've gotten as sports fans in general, but Penguins fans in particular. And there's so many people that I hope everybody's appreciating this, because, you know, in another, I don't know how many years, 5 years or whatever, we're going to be seeing that goodbye game to Sid. And, you know, I don't even want to talk about the free agency situation, but I just, it's a special thing. We're really lucky.
We're so spoiled as Penguins fans.
Yes.
Have you been a season ticket holder for what, decades now?
Since 92. Since 92. When they won that cup in 91, I was like, you know what? I don't care what happens. I'm getting season tickets. And then a few years later, we moved away. So I wasn't for a few years. But as soon as we moved back, I was like, yep, getting those tickets.
I started following the Penguins the Mario's rookie year. You know, it's funny now. I listened to a couple podcasts today, and they were done by youngsters, because they're like, well, I don't remember Mario, but I'm so I'm so happy that we got to experience it. It's like, well, I do remember Mario.
Did you catch a couple? I saw it in a couple places, the who's better, Mario or Sid debates on Twitter. Did you catch any of that? Yeah,
to me, it's apples and oranges. To me, it's apples and oranges, and to me, Mario is the greatest of all time, and it's not even close. Sid is special in many ways, but the way, like, just Mario's physical gifts were just so far above any other player. So, I mean, I no disrespect to Sid. Sid is amazing, and Sid is, you know, he just like the kind of goals they scored. When Sid scores a goal, it's because he's outworking someone, or he's outsmarting them, or something like that. You know, his goals are more like you know, just hard working. But Mario was just like I just physically dominating, and you know, it doesn't matter if people were hanging on him or whatever. It's like, or you want like a perfect shot or something like that. He did it all. He was just you know, the most physically gifted player probably ever, and Sid just does it a whole different way. That's all.
They're very different players. Mario was a beautiful player. It's funny, the arguments that I saw all tended towards saying that if you believe Sid is the greatest of all time, that you've got to be like, oh, you've got to be 12 years old. I saw that comment a couple places. Yeah, I'm not 12 years old. And I actually think Sid, if I had to pick one, I'm dying on the Sidney Crosby hill as the GOAT. And here's my reasoning.
Okay.
If you took Mario and put him into how hockey is now, I don't think he'd be as dominant, because it's a different game. I think he'd be just as gifted physically. He'd be just as beautiful a player. But if you took Sid and put him back in the 80s, first of all, he'd have a bazillion more goals. And second of all, he'd do it all then too. I think he would have even been more dominant maybe back then. I don't know. I'm a Sid. I think Sid's the guy.
That's fine.
I get criticized all the time.
That's fine. And I mean, we basically went from Mario to Yager to Sid. There were those couple years where things really stunk with the X generation and Rico Fata and Chris Beach and all that crap. But other than that, it was basically Mario. Then it was Yager's team, and then it became Sid's team, and then Sid and Malkin, basically, and Letang. We're so lucky.
Oh my God, I know. Because and if you weren't following the Penguins at all before 84, you never saw how dreadful they were. They were just not great. There were some years they were dreadful. I would go to the games and there'd be 3,000 people there, and here's me and my friends acting like maniacs because nobody cared about hockey. Like Mario came and boom, all of a sudden there were fans. It was awesome. But we haven't seen dreadful. Not like, I mean, I remember those Rico Fata years, but Yeah. It's earlier was
We're
scary,
so
scary
lucky.
bad.
And
Yeah.
when I hear people disrespect Sid, it just makes me laugh. It's very obvious that anybody that says anything bad about him is just jealous. That's all. I compare Sidney Crosby to Tom Brady.
I won't argue that one.
I hate Tom Brady mostly because he's so good, and I hated that he beat us all the time. And I imagine that's how every other team that's not a Penguins fan, I imagine that's how they are too. It's like this is why I hate you, but they're not going to admit that. They're going to just come up with some stupid reason.
Well, my extended family's all from Philadelphia. My family's all from Philadelphia. So I've heard all kinds of Sidney Crosby comments over the years, and they really don't have a good reason. Sorry, cousins, I love you all, but you don't have a good reason to hate Sid. So.
I like the I like the he's a crybaby argument.
Yeah, and that's a big Flyer one. Yeah.
It started with the Flyers. It started with, I think, right. the coach was Hitchcock or something like that. It's like, wait. You mean that 18-year-old kid that got smacked in the mouth and lost teeth? You're calling him a crybaby because he was complaining about that?
I just saw that replay again. Like, dreadful. What dreadful? How can you? Right, I agree with you. How can you call him a baby?
It's just it just. And when people are like, "Oh, Sid's a dirty player," it's like, are you kidding me?
Are you watching? Yeah.
Are you watching? Are you watching all the times he just gets physically manhandled and then they'll call a penalty?
Right.
Gosh.
It's frustrating to watch. Very frustrating.
There was an article from Josh Yohe, and this is what he said the other night. He said, I know you've heard this a million times, but you're going to hear it one more. The person, remarkably, is actually better than the player, and he's one of the 5 greatest players in the history of the sport. He's a real deal in every way. He treats everyone with dignity and respect. He is kind. He is polite. He has a particular soft spot for children. He has time for everyone. And in the 13 years I've known him, he's never mistreated one person from what I've witnessed, and he's had many reasons to. The Penguins are lucky to have him as their captain, and Pittsburgh is lucky to have him as one of our own. Wow. That's the other thing about this is you've never heard a bad thing about him.
Right.
He never gets in trouble. He never like the worst thing he ever did was when it was actually about the Flyers, when he's like the one time he pushed the glove, like somebody's glove dropped and he pushed it away from them, and they're like, why do you do that? He's like, I don't like them. That's it. That's like the worst thing he's ever done.
Yeah. Yeah. And how often does that happen, that you never hear anything bad about, like, if other teams have to invent something to not like him for?
Right.
I mean, it's funny you brought this up. I've been going back and forth with my season ticket holder rep is awesome. Her name is Kirsten, and she's amazing. But she, I asked her today in an email, I'm anxious to get the response. Is he really as wonderful as you hear, as somebody who, like, works near him? She may not know him. I don't know. But because I only encountered him once personally. And I'm an idiot. And I was asking for an autograph for a friend's daughter and didn't get one for myself. Like, what was I thinking? But he was just he's what you see, that soft-spoken kid, that's exactly who he is. That's who he was to me.
He's
polite.
He's married to the game. He's such a nerd. He's such a hockey nerd. That's all he cares about.
That's a great way to put it.
It's all he cares about is hockey. Even when they have those ceremonies at the end in the locker room with the Viking helmet or whatever now.
Yeah.
Obviously they give it to him. He's just downplaying the whole thing. He's just like, I'm happy we won. Like, that's it. He's just happy they won. It's a good thing they won that game. Oh, goodness. They didn't beat the Flyers. Oh boy.
And the way they came back, like at the end of the game, it's like they just said, you know what, we are not losing this, and they just did it. And then in overtime, like, it's almost like Letang said the same thing. I am winning this for Sid, and boom. And that was It was perfect.
Letang did the perfect thing because it was a 2-on-1 with Letang and Sid, and the Flyers goalie, that entire crowd, and every organism in the universe thought that he was going to pass it to Sid. Obviously, he passed it to Sid, and he did the no look thing, and he it's like
that was amazing,
and he scored. It was beautiful. Like oh, obviously you're going to give it to Sid. Well,
yeah,
no.
that was awesome. It was awesome. Everything about it.
Do you have a favorite Sid goal moment?
I mean, as far as pretty amazing, like, oh wow, that I will never forget this goal. The one that he hit it and then hit it again with a stick. Was it against the Canadians a few years ago? And
well, was
there that one?
He did one against the Canadians, and then like I think the next game did the same thing against the Devils. It was amazing. It was the one with the Canadians. He like hit it to himself, I think, or
yeah,
hit it. But the one against the Devils, it went off the crossbar, and he's skating across, and he's like, oh, by the way, like bunting. He apparently he loves playing baseball too, and it just it's amazing. All those.
How about you? Do you have one?
I really liked the one. Do you remember the one against the Oilers? Just this was like in the past few years. I remember because it was a big Sid versus McDavid thing, and he just went through kind of the whole team to score. That was really cool. There was one against Buffalo where he kind of also went against the whole team, and he just did this weird backhand shovel thing to score.
Oh yeah. I know that. I remember that one for sure. Yeah, I remember that one.
But just all the ones where he just shows insane hand-eye coordination, where he just happens to tip that he's just near the net, and he just happens to tip it in. What was the not too long ago, he did an empty net goal where he bounced it off the boards.
Oh yeah.
Remember that?
That was a good one.
There
Sid.
I never want to play pool against that guy.
No.
Yeah. And there's one moment that unfortunately was a big milestone for me personally also, and that was the very first Winter Classic game.
Yeah.
Where he scored the goal against Buffalo in the snow. Like it was in the snow. I believe that was January 1st, 2008. That was the very first Winter Classic. It meant a lot to me because that day at the time I was running a restaurant, and the night before the restaurant burned. The restaurant caught on fire.
Oh wow.
And so we took a break from trying to figure out what the heck was going on to watch TV and to watch the Winter Classic. Oh, there was another thing. It was also at that restaurant when at the lottery when the Pens got Sid.
I remember that so well.
I remember that very well. We were standing in the bar and we're like, oh, it's either Anaheim or Pittsburgh. Wow, it's pretty cool that Pittsburgh got this far. It's like, oh my God, Pittsburgh won it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. My daughter was playing tournament softball, and we were at a tournament. I don't away somewhere in Buffalo maybe, and I can remember the teams all gathering and hanging out in the hall, and I'm like, I have to go watch the lottery. And I remember sitting in the hotel room watching that lottery, just so excited, holding my breath.
It was the freakiest thing because it was I think it was a situation where every team had a chance or something like that. And they asked they asked all the GMs is like, how nice would it be to have Sidney Crosby? And it's like, and obviously every GM's like, yeah, I really want him. It was just so weird.
Meant to be.
It was meant to be. Yeah. And then getting Malkin, and remember that whole thing with
they had issues and
he had to
sneak
like
them in and
sneak out of the country or some crazy thing like that.
It's just weird to think about now,
Yeah. Yeah. And it makes you wonder, how long is this going to last? Yeah. Is it going to be, I mean, I could see Sid playing for another 5 years. Easy.
Well, they're always talking about what great shape he's in. And he's, he works, same with Letang, work out hard. Why not play for another, 5, 6, 7 years? I could see it.
He would just have to adjust his game. That's all.
Yeah.
Obviously he's going to be a little bit slower, but that's okay.
Yeah.
Well, he would figure it out. Malkin, I don't know. I don't see him being here for another 5 years. I don't think that's going to. I think that's going to end differently. Either he's going to go to Russia or something like that. But
I wonder. It'll be interesting.
Yeah.
I agree. He's not going to be a live and die a Penguin until the end. I don't know. We'll see. I hope he does, but
I mean, Malkin's contract's up and Letang's contract's up. So
and Rust.
And Rust. Ooh.
Isn't it Rust? I don't want to lose. I know. I don't want to lose Rusty.
He's like pricing himself out of Pittsburgh, unfortunately.
He is. Like, what a season he's having.
It's we'll see what happens with that. I mean, when I think of like, it's like, oh, we might, we need this money to extend Russ. It's like, well, okay, I could think of like 3 or 4 players. How about we just get rid of them? How about that?
Yeah. No, I don't disagree. Well, and that makes me think of, Kapanen. I love Kapanen. He's such a Pittsburgh kind of guy. Everybody loves him, but he and Gino just aren't clicking. And I feel that they need to resolve that situation big time, because that could have impact on who they keep and who they don't too,
Kapanen's just a disaster right now.
And it's like he's almost there, and every time he misses or misfires, you're just like, oh my God, come on.
Well,
frustrating.
He is, as we're recording this right now, the game's about to start. They're playing Toronto, his old team. So maybe that will fire him up.
I hope so.
I don't know. Because I mean, how close do you think this team? Do you think this team has a possibility of going? Like right now, they do nothing. Do you think this team could go far in the playoffs?
I do. My concern is goaltending. My concern is what everybody's concern is. Look at Jari last year. Everybody thought, oh, he's the man. He's doing great. Casey DeSmith last year had some great games. Went into the playoffs. Think we're okay. You know what? We all saw it. Jari's implosion during the playoffs last year. That could happen again. We don't.
But he's doing really well now.
He is.
So maybe, but we don't know. We don't know. We don't know. The playoffs is a whole different thing. Maybe something will trigger, because I mean, that's, it's in the back of his mind. It's in the back of everybody's minds. Like, oh, he failed before. Is he going to fail again? Now, this year he has a different goaltender coach, and I think he's made a huge difference.
Yeah.
So cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know.
You hate to pin it. I'm a goalie girl. I love goaltenders, and I have a soft spot for all of them over the years, and I hate to blame one, but you have to with last year. So yeah, I mean, it's hard to just say, okay, cut your losses, don't look, and just look forward. If we're doing that, I mean, I think they could. Jari keeps playing the way he is now. Who knew Matt Murray would win 2 Stanley Cups as a baby? You know what I mean? So.
Right. Yeah. He has a lot to prove. I just worry about. I worry about the Smith. That was the big fight on Twitter last night. It's like, oh, all these goals they're not the Smith's fault. It's not his fault. Like, some of them are. Okay. He didn't have a good game. You give up 4 goals. That's not good. I don't care whose fault they are. And you need some kind of backup. You can't have Jari play every single game. So
Well, you can't, but you can. I mean, like if the Penguins were to get to the playoffs and get into a groove and just, you know how it is, it's a completely different time. Hockey playoffs are just like another season. Like I truly believe that. If you get Jari in there and he's firing on all cylinders, he could play almost every game. And you know,
well, in the playoffs, let him play every game. But up until then, that's what worries me, because the schedule's about to get real intense.
It really is. I was just looking at it yesterday. Wow.
They play the Rangers a bunch. They play Carolina a bunch. They play. I think they still got to play Colorado. They got to play Vegas again.
Mm-hmm. They got the Capitals again near the end there. There's not an easy schedule.
It's going to be rough. It's going to be rough. And this is the first time in a few years that they're actually playing a full schedule, the full 80 some games. So,
full 80 some games, but I feel like the schedule's kind of backloaded. So the end of the season is just, I mean, granted, the COVID issues and the change of the Olympics. Yeah. But it's just like boom, 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 boom right now. They have, is it next week that there's a gap, and then there's like not a gap like that the rest of the season? I can't remember which days.
I just remember, I think I saw that they have the hardest schedule.
I wouldn't be surprised
of anyone in the league, for March or something like that.
There's 2 weeks. They go next week. They go from Sunday to Thursday. And then the week after they go Sunday to Thursday. And then after that, it's just like game, like almost every other day for weeks. So they have like one more gap after that in April, but
that March schedule is brutal.
I know.
Oh my goodness. Oh,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
It's
10,
either
11,
you're right.
12,
It's either
13,
every
14.
other game, or hey, let's throw some back-to-backs in there.
Yeah. 14 games in March. That's crazy.
And then they play all of April, which is different. Usually the playoffs start in April. And so all April. Oh boy. Ugh.
Yeah, it's March and April are not going to be fun for sure. Or they will be. Hockey is so streaky. Sometimes that boom, boom, boom schedule seems to benefit them. I mean, I don't know. But you figure if you're going to get 4 months of that, it's going to be tough.
It's very that routine. Tough. It's that routine. If you tell them you're playing every other game, they're probably thrilled about that.
Yeah.
Now the back-to-backs, I think stink, and I wish they wouldn't do that. But yeah, you're right, because it's when they say, "Oh, we're going to take the week off," or some goofy thing like that. That's when, and then they come back and they're all rusty and they're all crappy and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm sure they're thrilled. They're thrilled with every other game, and I think they want those night games, because anytime there's a day game, it's just they're
seems to throw things off sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's when the goaltending is important too. You get the back-to-backs. There's where you have to have
where you need a good backup. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm just sort of hoping. I don't know about that.
I don't know. I agree. I think this team has a chance to go far. I don't know.
Yeah, I do too.
They're missing. I mean, it's not perfect right now. I've heard a suggestion, because right now it looks like, the first line is Crosby, Gensel, Rust. Okay. And then they're going to try to put Carter with Malkin.
Yeah. I don't know how I feel about that.
I don't know.
He's a natural center, isn't he, Carter?
But I mean, what are you going to do? It's like, you can't have Kapanen up there because he's just a mess right now. And Zucker's hurt. So it's like, okay. And then the third line is Rodriguez, Kapanen, and McGinn. Okay. Rodriguez needs to step it up again. He was like insanely hot, and then he just pulled off big time. He needs to start scoring again.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
And then the fourth line is Boyle, Simone, and Aston Reese. It's like, okay, that's cute. Boyle cracks me up. Like, the guy's 100 years old and he's awesome.
I do like him. He's one of those character guys. You need the character guys. I do like him. But yeah, you have to hit that magic. Like the third and fourth, yeah, you have to hit that magic. And I think with this team they could win it all, but I have utmost confidence in Sullivan. He needs to find the magic. He needs to find the combinations. He needs to find the chemistry with who he has. And I'm just not sure what it is.
You just hope they stay healthy, and
Yeah,
then
that's big.
and then we'll see what happens at the trade deadline. The trade deadline, I think, is in the middle of March this year or something like that, or end of March or something
Yeah,
like that.
I'm
So
not sure when it
we
is.
still have another month for that.
Got to get Bluger back. That's another biggie.
Yes.
He was a huge loss.
Bluger, Aston Reese, and McGinn, I think, are your like ideal fourth line or third line or whatever. And then, yeah.
And he's a penalty killer. Like that's huge, huge. So I mean, they've done well without him, obviously, but I do think that was a big loss. They had to adjust. They lost a few games right after he went out, and it showed that he wasn't there.
Players like that. That's they're important. I think they miss Zucker too, even though he didn't score. He worked hard.
He did. He brought some energy that some of these games we've needed a little bit of energy, and he would have been a great player to throw that on the ice and put it all out there. I do like him.
Gosh, it just, God, yeah, Kapanen just needs to. I mean, it's almost at the point where, hey man, if you can't figure it out, go sit down, go be a healthy scratch or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to say about him. I really like him and I want him to succeed. I want him to do well. I want him to click.
I have a feeling he's going to have, I think either he's going to have a big night tonight. He's going to score some, or at least he's going to do something. It'll make it look like he's almost going to score, or just be really into it or something like that, because you always want to stick it to your old team.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I would have liked to have seen him. I would still like to see him click with Gino more, but we'll see how this Jeff Carter experiment works. I'm not sure how I feel.
I think that's temporary. I think you gotta make Carter a center at some point, but
you need the energy player on that line, and I feel like Kapanen is the one that should contribute the energy to that line. It's a different energy with Carter.
Right. I mean,
Malkin I love him, but
Malkin and Kapanen do have the chemistry. It just hasn't been there this year. I think just this Kapanen is just having a really bad year.
Yeah.
We'll see. There's still plenty of games to play, so we'll see.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, hey, first time us talking Pens.
Woo! I'll talk Pens anytime, honey. So there you go.
It's either, if it's not Marvel, it's not Star Wars, it's Pens.
I'm good for all of it. So
yeah.
You let me know when you want to talk about these things. I'm here. So.
I have, oh my God, I got this. Next time we talk Star Wars, I have this really cool helmet thing, and I'm really excited. And next time we talk Marvel, I have another prop. So anyway, really, nice. I'm excited about that. So anyway,
good.
All right, buddy. Hey, thanks so much. This was awesome. Yes, let's go Pens.
All right, take care.
All right, see ya.
Bye.